V5 are definitely looking to scale up. You've got the Kassadin there. Nico is trying to provide some wave clear so that then Alias and CLX in this later stage of the game can play this 1-3-1 style. You got Pyke to try and be this in-between between both side lanes, because that's the beauty of this assassin style support is you can use that invisibility to creep between these lanes and suddenly catch someone unaware in a 1v2 scenario.
Well, we're jumping straight on into game number 1 here, immediately after the draft, and now we'll see how CLX is going to do in this mid lane on the Kassadin. It's Vici against V5, and V5 on the very cusp of a perfect split here. Not a single series win on the board. This is their 16th and final series of Spring.
Only a single game picked up against LNG, and that was all they've got to write home about. And now Vici, with the composition that they've gone for, are going to be looking to try and hit this mid-game hard and snowball over V5. Corki, when he picks up his Triforce, you've got those first item and a half coming through, and iBoy will be a menace in team fights. And especially if Ike's can take over this early game jungle on the Trundle, he can get into a great spot.
So what is the play then? How do Vici make this happen? Because you mentioned that they need to take over in the mid game. They need to be controlling, stopping this Kassadin getting strong. How do they actually make that happen for themselves?
Well, the easiest way to make that happen is to have Ike's play this aggressive invade style, so he can try and force Xiaohan behind, which he's about to do, and then make that pressure known on towards the mid lane CLX before he hits level 6.
Xiaohan's in trouble. He's going to get the double knockup, forced to flash immediately, kicked out of his own jungle, and Ike's already large and in charge.
And now as Xiaohan, you've got to go and roam to the bottom side, and this is actually where Trundle has been shining, is getting these aggressive starts where he gets the level advantage and then can just look to bully you every time you run into each other.
Why are we seeing Nico AD carry again? Why are we seeing this? It's just like every single time I cast V5, I just don't know what's going to happen. I never quite know what to expect. Mole goes anywhere. CLX, quite often it feels like CLX is just doing whatever he needs to play around the fact that Mole is not going to play where you expect.
And this is where it ends up disrupting V5 quite a bit.
Oh my
goodness.
boys. Xiaohan.
He's no vision on Xiaohan, so doesn't realize that he's in the bush. Now will, but iBoy looking to be a bit of a nuisance here, because of course this Senna is the support in this lane, so it's fine to start roaming around and trying to get some support into the jungle and get some vision down.
I thought he was going to try and make the play onto Xiaohan there. I was excited, but he's going to back away in the end, and I think rightly so. Y4 realizes he's not going to be able to get a hook, and he's just going to give over a soul instead.
So coming back to what we were talking about with Ike's, I want to see this Trundle getting in, having impact towards Forge in this mid lane. Should be able to gank onto CLX relatively easily until that Rift Walk is available, and then that gank in the mid becomes completely negligible. The same on that top side.
Oh, flash for the stun from Y4. Hung's in trouble right here. Xiaohan comes in with a flash. That is going to mean they get away to safety here. CLX, in the meantime, takes a couple of hits, but will walk away with his life. So you've mentioned already that it's Vici that need to get the ball rolling here and start things off strong, and you can see that they're trying to do that in the mid lane. What is it that V5 can do to answer for that, though, and buy enough time for Kassadin to get on?
So right now, Xiaohan is doing the right thing, which is trying to support Mole's endeavors in the bottom lane. You can control that bottom lane, you open up Y4 for ganks, but also means that your wave clear is going to be really strong coming through from this Nico, and that gives CLX the opportunity to play off in a side lane, because until Baron hits, there's no real way for you to deal with the wave clear that Mole offers on this Nico.
Alias roaming down in the meantime, though, to make sure that Xiaohan can get this Scuttle Crab quite happily. Ike's is on the bottom side of the map right now. Still just under a minute until Dragon spawns, and if Ike's could make a play to this bot side, they could set up for that objective.
So I want to see Ike's and both Xiaohan putting attention towards this top side. Xiaohan is already up here, because the thing about this Aatrox versus Renekton matchup is it's super snowbally. We've talked about it plenty on this cast. So if you can have Xiaohan influence that lane, you're in great shape. But Cube has been doing a wonderful job here of freezing this wave just close enough to his tower that he doesn't have to worry too much about Xiaohan having the opportunity to gank him. Now, though, that this wave is starting to push out, it does open up Xiaohan to try and make some magic happen.
So where does Pyke fit into all of this? Because Pyke, it's not a champion we get to see very often. Actually, quite a big fight going on in the top lane. They are going to run out of abilities, though, and you'd expect with these two, Once the abilities are on cooldown, the trade ends pretty much immediately.
So going back to your question though, I hate Pyke in this composition. I really don't like it. So in the bottom lane, you haven't got a huge amount of great setup, but with the gank on top, we'll hold on to that point, because Ike's...
That was a slice and a dice from Alias. He's used everything now. This is going to be a flash force for sure. Pillar still available. It's going to be used. Pushes him back, and Alias is surely down. First blood for the Troll King.
There was no winning there for Alias. You're either going to flash and then you get met with a pillar in the face, or you end up taking that next proc of the Darkened Blade, CC galore, and you can't escape. Alias, as you said, slice and dice down, ends up with no dice and goes down.
And that's the thing. You mentioned there's no way of winning that. The way of winning that is not using your slice and dice just to clear the minion wave. But they're right. I mean, he's in the LPL. I'm not. So.
True. Well, look, I want to come back to this Pyke pick anyway. The advantages of Pyke is that, look, you can play aggressive in this lane. You open and you can start to try and hook. You get the CCs. It's great in this early stages. But you can't really kill Senna and Tahm Kench. That's why this lane is so potent. And even when you hit this level 6 mark, there's so many ways for iBoy and Hong to heal up so you can't get the resets onto your ultimate, or even get that ultimate to execute either iBoy or Hong. So this Y4 pick is a big question mark for me. And as we start to go into the rest of the game, it's a little bit more difficult to try and lock down the likes of Forge. Ike's and Cube, yes, will be providing a little bit of front line where maybe you can help out. But Kassadin is already going to kill people that he gets onto. Renekton can set up a little bit for Y4, but it's still a very strange pick in this whole scenario. I'd love to see a bit more disengage from the support when we look towards V5 going towards a 1-3-1.
Massive damage out of Mole there in the bottom lane. And this Nico pick is actually working out decently. Pyke looking for a hook. Y4 though will just be rooted himself, and Ike's is on the sidelines. Exhaust goes through. Mole able to trade a good amount of damage. He actually wants to try and find a kill, but he's gone way too far forwards now. Mole might have just sacrificed himself. Hung gonna gobble him up, forces the flash out of this Nico. Now teleport being channeled. It's actually V5 that are gonna turn things around. They want to find themselves a kill. They even up the scoreboard. The CLX, he is the one to go way too deep now. Ike's chasing onto that one. Y4 flashes forward, but can't quite get the kill. Now they're going to chase onto this one. Forge pulled back. Valkyrie back out again. Xiaohan finding a way back in. CLX is low. Can't finish the kills. Xiaohan finds a Sonic Wave. And it's a lot of chaos for just one kill.
It is only one kill that goes across. V5 though can look to push this in, get a turret play for themselves, which is going to be stellar. The big factor here though was that was a mistake from iBoy. iBoy wanted to greed in, get help for the kill, and it meant that everyone was overextending to try and help iBoy rather than finishing off the kill or finding their way out of that engagement, and it cost Vici in the end.
They certainly did. They end up losing out in terms of the kill. When it comes to the gold though, they're still actually feeling pretty good right now. They're almost 1,000 gold ahead, and that's purely on CS advantages and plates across the board. In fact, I don't think they've even taken any plates. This is purely CS.
And the biggest surprise for me in that regard is Mole down in this bottom lane. Behind in CS to the Senna and Tahm Kench, you should be able to pretty easily clear out these waves and push in this iBoy and Hung bottom lane underneath the turret, but it's not what we've been seeing, and CS has been going lost for Mole and picked up by Hung.
We're going to see Cube could be in a bit of trouble here, because Y4 and Xiaohan have both moved up. I want to try and go for this Herald. But the way to get that would be starting off onto the Aatrox. Flash still available. Cube going to have his Umbral dash as well, but there's a flash from Y4. The hook goes wide. And it is going to mean now it's Vici on the chase, trying to make a play for themselves. Dominus comes through. He's pulled back on in, and the damage is massive out of the Aatrox. Cube gets one, and that's going to be the end of the fight because Herald's already taken.
So you can see the idea here for V5 is to have Y4 go in these roams. Mole is able to wave clear efficiently in the bottom lane and doesn't have to worry about iBoy and Hung being able to aggress on him too easily. But the problem is Y4 isn't level 6, doesn't have access to that ult, and unfortunately a good flash away from Cube means they can't find the kill either.
Shan actually uses a Dragon Rage there onto Ike's. Herald's still available. They're just going to drop that one now. They should be able to finish this tower off, in all honesty. I don't see a way a Y4 and Xiaohan can contest this properly. Charge will come through. One or two more autos will finish the job. So Vici, despite losing the second trade of the game, they're still going to be ahead in tempo. When you look at the gold right now, they're over 2,000 ahead already.
which is insane at only 10 minutes when it's only a kill that separates these two. But this is the way that Vici have looked to accelerate their leads, is playing through Cube this time in the top side, getting a lot of these turret plates across. And the good news for them is that a lot of that goal went on to iBoy as well, so he's now going to be accelerating pretty quickly towards that Umbral Glaive.
V5 though, they get a consolation prize because this dragon we talked about earlier is still on the map. So Xiaohan able to just grab that one for himself, and at least they get something. At least they're not just losing complete control of the game, but still very much in favor of VG so far.
And this isn't anything unusual. When we look at V5 on average, they're 1,700 gold behind at 15 minutes. That is an insane figure, when I think the next closest is like maybe 700 to 600. Like, they are just snowballing right away out of control in these games. And as we said, a lot of this is CS. It's down to the way Vici have played the game to crack open that top lane turret. And now V5 find themselves in the back foot with a composition that needs time to scale into this Kassadin.
So we mentioned earlier how Xiaohan has to be the one putting his front foot forward here and finding some leads for V5 to buy them time until CLX can really impact the game. Now that they're starting to fall behind, how does he continue here? What does he do? Because we mentioned focusing on Aliez. Aliez is 0-2-0 right now and doesn't have a tower.
And it's too late now for that top lane. The idea here is Y4 is going to just keep going with Xiaohan and see if they can pick people off in this two-man unit. But Y4 is starting to fall behind when it comes to experience because of how often he is on the map, rather than in a lane soaking up experience. And this Pyke has hit the level 6, so now has access to the ultimate, which will help in this playstyle. But look at the vision control that's there for Vici. It's so difficult for you to try and make these plays happen when they are the ones with full control of the map.
Y4's going to return to the bottom lane, though, to try and help out Mole. And it has to be stated, Mole will do a lot of damage, especially when he hits that level 2, or not level 2, sorry, when he hits the 2-item power spike as well. You'll see Nico really bursting through it. And we've seen it multiple times in these trades and fights, that if he can get the Tangle Barbs onto iBoy, he can chunk that carry out.
I do agree. The problem with that is that Vici are great disengage. You've got Trundle pillars that can come in. You've got Tom Kench who can start to back away. Forge has got his Valkyrie to escape if you try and approach too close. But
oh, Xiaohan is on the scene. Easy kill for the Lee Sin. That was, I mean, I was not expecting that out of V5.
Xiaohan is one of the members for V5 that has actually looked good. He's had a great performance in a couple of their last series and even been a reasonable shot caller for them in the early stage of the game, but I still say that with a caveat because we've seen these level 2 tower dives that have come in pretty consistently from this team that haven't looked so hot.
Alex just pillars away the Renekton so he doesn't have to smite the red buff in the end, walks away for himself, and in fact I think he did smite in the end, but
he did. But I mean, look, it didn't matter. It was more about sending a message to Aliez as like, what are you going to do about
Get
it?
out
This
of
is
here.
mine. Get away.
Dear me, the gate is gone, and so is the red buff. Now onto the Scuttler as well. Ix is having a whale of a time. Even though Xiaohan is having a really good jungle game so far, it feels the same on the other side. It feels like these two junglers have been doing well individually, completely separate to one another.
But we've got to see this turn into a little bit more from Vici right now. Like, yes, you've got a 2,000 gold lead off taking that top tower, but the game has slowed down, so we're still waiting on this next dragon to spawn up. And Hong has been left on his lonesome in this bottom lane, which is perfect for Mole and Y4, because all they're doing is chipping away at this Tam Kench under the turret, with iBoy not here until now to heal him up. They can always look for that execute with the depth, or the death from below with Pyke. But iBoy now here to try and help clear out these waves a little bit and keep that tower standing in the bottom lane.
Xiaohan wants to punish that though, but he's been spotted on a ward, so everybody knows what's up here. He's going to go onto the crooks. Y4 is rooted underneath the tower. Mole has to tank up a shot, uses his pop blossom way too early. Now Xiaohan's here, but Ix has gone so deep. Red buff finishes the kill, and Dragon Rage saves him. Oh, it's all gone wrong for V5, and now Xiaohan has to just waddle away.
I love that call from Ix though, preemptively roaming down towards the bottom lane because he knows Xiaohan is probably going to make a play here with that tower being so low. Vici reading Xiaohan's intentions and come out on top because of it.
Now on towards this bottom tower, or maybe just control of the area, because Dragon is up in 40 seconds, remember. CLX still, he's just finished that Rod of Aegis, so we'll start to get towards the point at which he becomes an actual champion, but still a long way off doing any real damage.
Xiaohan and Y4 are still looking to be this roaming death squad that hasn't really caused much death so far, but I mean, a man can dream. So now they're looking towards Rift Herald alongside Y4, while with Dragon spawning in just a few moments, Vici will be looking to secure that. I want to see how V5 can use this Rift Herald though. Turret plates are gone, so they can't use it to get extra gold, but might be able to crack open this bottom lane turret and get something for themselves.
Might just be able to finish this one, but the minions are gone. Now with another wave coming in, they'll finish that one off. And iBoy there to just grab a little bit of the gold for himself as well. And they can move over to this Drake, importantly. This will even the Drakes up, but you gotta say, Infernal Drake, I mean, realistically, when you're stacking them, it's not that big of a deal, but tell you what is, Cube could be in trouble. I think they've decided it's just not worth it.
Cube reading this well. If we've managed to push in a heap on the bottom side, Vici know that the rest of V5 are going to be on the top side. Although Cube maybe getting a little bit greedy now with Xiaohan and Y4 in behind him.
He's recommitted to this tower and he's made the wrong decision. He thought that they weren't there. Never mind, they're just not going to go for it. They had the minions, they had the CC, they just didn't make the play happen. And now, look at this on the bottom side. They're really going to regret that.
There's nobody here to stop this. Yes, CLX is down here to try and farm up, but he hasn't really got the wave clear without the force post, which is super inconsistent. Mole was in that mid lane trying to clear out the waves against Corki, so Vici are free to go for this. They even pick up the dragon on the way out.
When was the last time Xiaohan got one of his buffs? Because we saw Ike's take the red on the top side, we just seen him take the blue on the bottom side. When is the last time this Lee Sin actually had one of those for himself? I'm starting to wonder. He's a level behind as well. Oh, he's actually just hit the level 9 mark for himself. Another flash from Y4 though. Nice flash from Forge, keeps himself safe.
Not able to get the death from below damage down though, and they would have loved to be able to pick off Forge there, just get something back into their pockets, but wasn't the case. Now though we're looking.
That?
What was it?
Sorry. iBoy just got a triple soul in one Q. That doesn't happen often. You got to take a moment to appreciate it when it does. I've played a lot of
you're
center.
an AD carry, mate.
That feels real good, man.
living through iBoy.
He was gonna go for the first auto, and then he saw it, and he was like, "This is my chance. This is my moment."
It is also V5's moment to make some action happen on the bottom side of the map. CLX has picked off this turret in the bottom lane for himself. I thought Xiaohan might have tried to use the Rift Herald down here to just speed up the process, but still hanging on to that. So now might be able to use it to put some pressure down towards mid. I don't see him having the opportunity anytime soon to get use out of it in the top lane just because of how far Alias has been pushed.
Last second flash there on the replay from Forge. Barely got away from Mole's Tangle Barb. And Y4 consistently flashing, but Cube has gone really far in the top lane. I'm not exactly sure what he expected here. Now the whole squad is going to roam up. Dawning Shadow though, CLX is actually pretty low on this one. This would be 1v3. He does get shut down in the end. That is a nice pickup though. CLX on a Kassadin getting a kill.
And now Xiaohan's used this Rift Herald on the top side. Forge did teleport up though to try and stop this, but in a 1v3 scenario doesn't feel comfortable sticking around. Just pick up the blue buff.
Oh, that pillar could mean Mole's in trouble. They don't really have too much follow-up damage. Xiaohan's going to arrive as well. CLX just forces this Herald in. They're going to be able to get the tier 1, that's for sure. Question is, what can Vici do to answer?
Well, right now, there's very little. This is what we talked about. Mole is great for when it comes to the wave clear, so he's able to keep the rest of Vici off of this turret, and I actually would have preferred CLX to stick around in this top lane just to take that turret and get some more gold injected into this castle.
And actually, they don't even finish this tower. Oh, the minions get it. The minions get it in the end. But the Rift Herald was killed by the tower. I didn't think the minions would quite finish it off. And now we've got a bit of an ARAM going on, as both teams just group up and start bashing each other in the mid lane.
But this favors V5, because all they need to do is wait for CLX to come online. Now, they're still holding on to that, 2,500 to 3,000 gold lead in favor of Vici, but that's not enough to counteract what CLX will be able to do once he gets rolling. Just finished that Seraph's Embrace as well, so now he's in great shape with the Rod of Ages there.
He's feeling good on this one. See V5 moving back up towards the top side. Ike's.
Apologies, Archangel Staff, not Seraph's Embrace.
It will be.
It will.
One day.
One day.
One day. Xiaohan's found Ike's and he's going to look for another kick. No, he's not. Yes, he is. Haha, he just baited me. It was a little bit late, but Ike's goes down with a dip from below. Gives over a bit of bonus gold to Xiaohan.
This is starting to look a little bit sloppy for Vici. Cube overextending to the top lane, gave across the kill. Forge then TPing to the top lane to end up giving across the turret. Now the lack of vision control for Vici, which they should be the ones who had control of that, cost them the kill. And this is where Y4 and Xiaohan can make this combo work, especially if they got CLX waiting in the wings.
This would be the most Vici gaming thing ever if they lose this series to V5. Bear in mind, V5 are actually contesting them now. This is the team with a singular game win this entire split. Vici gaming, their playoff dreams are still alive as of right now.
Let me give you some stats for V5. Oh my god. Well, that is for one.
That's about Dragon and Baron control, by the way. 0% for V5.
They got a single Baron yesterday for V5. They have a 3% Baron control rating.
Let's go.
They average 20 deaths per game as a team. They have a lead of 15 minutes in 19% of their games. Their average Baron earnings is -1 gold. And they've the quickest loss time in the league at just under 30 minutes. This team never has anything going well for them. So even now we've broached the 15-minute mark, they're still behind, but this is not Vici accelerating the game as quickly as they need to, because CLX is definitely getting going, and I'm not convinced VF5 are out of this whatsoever.
It is worth mentioning, though, on the other side of the board, you've got... Oh, hang on, Forge. He's got the package, he's fine. You've got a Corki, you've got a Sen. These guys are also insane late game carries. So while CLX is scaling up, it's not like Vici's gaming, that Vici's composition just falls off a cliff either.
No, but it's matched in a lot of scenarios. So you've got Mole, who can be really good in these team fights at either disengaging away from Vici, so keeping the likes of Cube and Ike's occupied, giving CLX access to the backline. He can get onto iBoy or Forge. And in those 1v1 scenarios where CLX has found a flank, he can definitely take down Forge or iBoy without even a second thought.
What? A little bit questionable of a pop blossom there from Mole. He's going to be in his Zhonya's one more rocket, but it's too early. And Mole walks away flash from the shadow. Jeez. Oh, he's going full Peter Pan right now. And now CLX could be in trouble. Pulled on in. Good damage out of Cube, but he's out of cooldowns and out of damage. So Vici, they don't quite finish off these kills, but they can move into the mid lane.
Every time I get hope for V5, something like that happens. I don't know why he pop blossomed. There was a single creep left. Just wait for it and just kill it. But now instead we've got V5 struggling on the back foot.
Honestly as well, the fact that the rocket comes in too early from Forge on a Zhonya's, that's just... You should probably know the timing on a Zhonya's at this point in your career.
Yeah, he's got enough there where I think he should have been able to figure it out, but unfortunately that wasn't quite the case. Now though, we have V5 who've lost their mid lane turrets. They've now got to figure out how they're going to try and broach this, because what they've been working with has been Y4 and Xiaohan working as this roaming squad to try and get kills alongside CLX. That becomes a lot more difficult when you're losing control of your structures and the vision is starting to be pushed back.
You have to bring up the question of pressure as well on these players when it comes to a game like this, because Vici actually have a lot riding on this series, a lot riding on this game. If they lose, they could fall out of playoffs. That's a lot of pressure on each and every one of these players. On the other side of the board, V5 have nothing to lose. They can do whatever they want, whenever, even if they lose 0-2. I mean, they're already tied for the worst split in LPL history. Does it really matter if you have that title by yourself?
And
no.
sometimes that's all you need. You just need that mantle of just pressure, to be taken off you and loosen your shoulders a bit and have some fun. And it's definitely what V5 are going for in this game. And we've seen the results. Xiaohan 2-0-2, Black Cleaver complete on this Lee Sin. He's in a really good spot right now. This is where Lee Sin is quite strong, and especially if you're pairing that with this Umbro Glaive Pike who's roaming around, clearing out vision, it makes it a lot easier for them to try and pick off a couple of people.
You know, when you think about that kind of storyline, gives me horrendous flashbacks to Kaboom, to Alliance going down, because the pressure was all on them and Kaboom had nothing to lose. It's happened before to favorites, and it'll happen time and time again. I'm not willing to say that V5 are out of this one just yet.
Especially when CLX is now fast approaching that level 60. That's where Kassadin is unstoppable. And we've seen even Forge in this game have those performances that bring back a game on Kassadin. Vici are trying to group up right now to stop this pick potential from Xiaohan and from Y4, but as a result, it's giving time for CLX to work on a side lane, Alias to work on a side lane. And we talked about how V5 want to try and get this 1-3-1 rolling at the moment so they can get Kassadin to that late game win condition.
Now going to group up once again in this mid lane. They will have a good amount of poke coming out from the side of Forge and iBoy as well at this point. Root comes through. Hung pulled in, but can't really follow up on that one. But again, they'll just be able to continuously do this with the likes of a core.
Try and keep as much poke down as possible. Those rockets are obnoxious to deal with. You've got the blue buff there as well as a red buff, just in case you can manage a quick auto or two. Now, this tower. No.
Mole using the pop blossom just to clear the wave, but he's rooted and he's taken down. And I mean, there's not really much else to say. That's like the third time we've seen that this game.
I don't know how he doesn't expect that at this stage. As you said, this is the third time now, or second time anyway, that we've seen Mole do this. And I just want him to stop. Like, if he can let CLX keep rolling on the side lane, they're in great shape. But I mean, moving in aggressively with a pop blossom.
So let me come at you with a sort of adverse strategy here.
Okay.
Because Mole, yes, he did kill himself. I can't argue with that. But he did save the tower. And
okay, I can see where you're going.
maybe he's saying, like, look, I'm going to sacrifice myself here. I'll save the tier 2 in the mid lane. I'll maintain a bit more jungle control for ourselves. And I'll buy just a little bit more time for CLX on the Kassadin.
I can see it. I can understand. I'm not a fan, but I can get the logic.
Mole doesn't think like normal League players.
That is true.
He's a different breed of player. This is the same guy that will take Nico into every single lane, that will play any single role for the team. Like, I could easily imagine that this is the way that the guy's brain works.
Well, look, if that's the idea, then great success for V5, and maybe it will bring great success in this game, because let's look at CLX. Now has that Seraph's Embrace completed. We're going to be working up towards that Sonya's with the error, or the stopwatch in his back pocket as well. This is maybe the moment where CLX has his time in the sun and shines for V5.
We're going to see Vici start to force the issue here, because we're getting later and later. 26 minutes now. They've got to get these tier 2s broken around the map. Bear in mind, Baron is available. We've got 3 dragons taken for Vici. They're on Soul Point. It'll be another 4 minutes until that next dragon comes up, though. Cloud Soul, not going to be the most influential. It is great on Corki, though. You just basically fly around the entire game. They finally break down the tier 2 in this mid lane.
CLX is here, though. This is now V5 with a change of game plan. We want CLX as part of these fights. We want him to try and join in, and he needs to at this stage, because Vici now have the opportunity to roam between mid and top, mid and bot, and start taking these last 2 outer turrets.
They don't have much going in the bottom lane when it comes to the minion waves, but up top, they've got a whole bunch of players here ready to start sieging. CLX, though, just going to threaten a tier 1 instead and force the retreat from Vici.
28 minutes into this game, and we're starting to see these third items come through for a lot of the teams. Infinity Edge nearly completed for Forge, which is going to be fantastic because he did opt for the new style of build we've seen with the Manamune build, which means you're going for a bit of an earlier spike on this Corki, but the Infinity Edge into Rapid Fire will still bring back this late game Corki that is so terrifying to deal with. iBoy is going to start picking up a lot of these souls, even has the Edge of Night there for himself to keep himself in check for if CLX manages to jump on him.
I don't know if you saw the speed at which CLX was able to do the Gromp just now, but he's starting to look a lot like a Kassadin, and he's already got his Seraphs, and he's already got his you know, one of them.
I do, I was going to say he's level 16 as well.
He's looking towards his Zonyas. I'm starting to get a little bit nervous with Vici.
I'm a little bit nervous myself. Infinity Edge is completed for Forge, which is a great pickup, but I'm not sure if it's might be too late. CLX, Zonya's Hourglass completed now as well. Got that moment to reset himself in these team fights. This could be it. This could be a very different story now.
They're onto Hung. Y4's gone very deep for this one, though, and actually he's going to go down first off, and maybe that's a bit of a dampener on the plan for V5. The rest of the team now getting chased down. This could just open up Baron for Vici.
It's CLX needing to get onto the backline here that could save this. If everyone's in the pit, maybe CLX can get onto Forge. Looking for a flank position here, but We'll have to wait and see.
Xiaohan wants the steal. Sonic Wave goes in. CLX on the back line. He wants to try and find the flank. Alias will have Dominus. As Cube is kicked away. That's Dragon Rage on cooldown. Pop Blossom onto everyone, but it only hits Hung in the end. Dawning Shadow across the team as well. Forge goes down. CLX with one already. There's one for the Nico as well. Hung can't do anything. And iBoy's executed. Hung flashes over the wall, but V5, they're winning out the fight. Now onto Cube as well. And everything's looking up great for V5.
We said it, CLX has hit the moment. That was his time to shine, and he pops off in the team fight. V5 win the victory, and they'll get their second Baron of the split.
Oh my goodness, can you believe your eyes? There is a very specific V5 fan Twitter account that I'm expecting great memes from at the end of this game if Victory 5 can keep the ball rolling. They've evened the gold now.
And they are in fantastic shape. Alias now can go off to a side lane and start pushing Hung.
Oh, Hung, he's going to be rooted up. Death from below. Zonya's away from, though, but with a slow and everything else, he will fall. And it's another one for CLX. Why 4?
Look, it doesn't matter. Look, forget about the rest of V5. It's only CLX that matters now. We're going to forgive everything else as long as our savior CLX is still here. But watch this. Great engage from Mole to set up CLX. And even though the exhaust comes through, it doesn't matter. There's enough resurgence of damage in the kit at this stage that he can pop from carry to carry, pick them off, and you can see Cube has no way of locking down CLX. Neither does this Trundle, so when CLX gets rolling, it's impossible to stop it.
And, I mean, iBoy was just left completely out to dry by the rest of his squad there. He's got an Edge of Night, he's got a Hex Drinker, but I don't know how long you can realistically survive against this kind of Kassadin. Look at the damage! That is insane!
Oh, this is great. Well, not for Vici, but like for CLX, I'm delighted because he's actually looked pretty good in a couple of these V5 games, and now he's getting the opportunity to throw the stuff if Xiaohan doesn't get him rooted.
Oh my goodness, the damage onto Mole. This Corky Forge is absolutely chunking people out. Bear in mind, he's got 3 items at this point. He is going to annihilate health bars.
They need to try and fight for this dragon, though. This is Cloud Soul that's going over. V5 instead have actually said, screw this. With Baron, we're just going to try and push in towards the inhibitor. This could work out.
Tier 2 for a soul, though. Importantly, now in 6 minutes, Elder Dragon will appear on the map.
The important thing for this, though, is that the ultimates on Vici aren't exactly the most impactful. Well, actually, I take that back. Cube can do a lot of work with that Cloud Soul. Same with Forge. He's able to proc that in an awful lot of situations, and the Subjugate as well. So these 2 towers aren't really worth giving over this pressure.
Oh, maybe if they can get kills, though. Forge slowed down. He will walk away. Death from below flashed away from Cube now. Trying to fight off the entire squad with the Aatrox, and he's going to do it as well. V5 in trouble because Cube is invincible. Mole now can't escape for himself, and he'll fall as well. A kill over to iBoy as Alias suddenly finds himself alone. The rest of the squad has scattered, and the Croc will become Boots.
And with that Baron buff now dwindling, it looks like they won't be able to get as much gold as they were hoping for V5. I would have preferred to see them opt into this 1-3-1 that we were talking about, but because they think they've got to try and take these outer structures to fight back for the Dragon Soul that's gone over, they're grouped. That's where Vici are strongest, and that's where V5 fall down.
All right, well, CLX survived, and he's going to have 5 more seconds of Baron buff to work with. But bear in mind, he's got his Zonyas now. He's also got Morellonomicon. And ultimately, I know we keep talking about the build here for CLX, but that genuinely feels like that is the only win condition for V5 at this point. And ultimately, the big issue V5 are having is before the fights really kick off, somebody gets picked off.
And it didn't matter at that fight at Baron, just because of how big CLX is. But if it is going to be a case of CLX not getting access to some of these crucial members like iBoy and Forge, like we saw in that very last fight, but then it becomes an issue for Vici, or for V5, where Vici will be able to play this front to back incredibly well. It's more so that CLX has free reign in these fights due to the lack of CC on Vici, that he can play very aggressive.
And look at the amount, the the absolute mountain of MR on the side of Vici right now. There are Merc treads across the board. I appreciate that this buff has come up right at the moment that I want to talk about the scoreboard. But you can see there's an Edge of Night there, which is going to give a bit of a mana shield, but also more of Malmortius. You got the Hex Drinker on the Corki. You got 2 Spirit Visages on the top side of the map. You got an Aegis for Hung. There is a ton of MR.
And a bunch of damage as well. You can see 2 auto attacks and a rocket from Forge will send Mole scurrying back to base. No objective up in the map right now though, so it's a little bit more difficult for Vici to try and draw V5 in. But keep your eyes when this next Baron starts to spawn, how Vici address this. Because if they're moving in and giving CLX avenues in the jungle to pop over walls onto Vici, or even if they try to go directly towards this Baron, that's where we can see CLX pop off in a manner that's fantastic. And even Y4 connecting onto multiple people with the death from below.
Onto Y4 there. Will be able to survive. That's a good amount of damage down onto him. Clears away the vision, and that'll mean his health regen comes in. Cube on the top side. But CLX wants to find this fight for himself. He wants to get some more kills on the Kassadin. Ike's the target, but he is tanky, and the rest of the team is going to be sacrificed here. CLX trying to find a way in. There's a flash pop blossom onto everyone, but the Dawning Shadow Shield is huge. CLX still alive. Keep your eyes on the Kassadin in the backline. He's exhausted though. Has to use his Zhonya's. Y4 trying to clean up. He goes down. Alias is there. CLX gets eaten by Hung and chomped on down by the Frog. Double kill for the Toad.
There's just no support for CLX in these fights. Everyone is too far behind. 0-4 for Alias, 2 and 4 for Mole on this Nico. There's no damage to set up for CLX. So when this Kassadin goes in, everyone on Vici turns on him, deletes CLX, and now Vici can close out this game.
Can they close this one? It's 20 seconds on the death timers. One more tower goes down. There's only 4 minions here. They have to play protect the president with this cannon. They have to tank the towers themselves and just get the minions to reduce the resistances. Mole will be back up. So will Xiao Han. The towers are going to fall. Y4 wants to try and contest. He's trying to get onto the back line. Uses a stopwatch to keep himself alive. But VG turn onto him, then turn back onto the Nexus. Pop blossom across everyone. Can they finish this one off? It's getting dicey, but they've just about done it. Vici get the win.